Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
The Ah, Jesus. Can you hear me, Mercy?
Hello. Okay. Good evening, everyone. So sorry for the glitches. We are on the way and we'll be beginning any moment. The national anthem has been taken. And Mercy, can you confirm we have those who are supposed to share their success stories? Very quickly, do we have that? Do we have anyone who is joining the call who is supposed to share their success story? Okay, if we do, thank you very much. So if you are joining us, thank you so much for joining. You can engage your chat section. I can see Olanade Julius. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome to you too. Thank you for joining. Do we have others who are already on stream? Please engage with the chat and please let us know where you're joining from, your name and where you're joining from. Okay. So I'll just quickly go ahead to give us some context about why we're here tonight. My name is Dr. Akwemtesi Shadrach. I am the Community Managers Lead at Mind the Gap, and I am delighted to be part of the program today. Today, I'm not the main anchor. Our facilitator or yes, I would say our moderator today is Mary Sebastian. She leads the team at the My SDGs program. She's the one to moderate this process, but I think she's having some glitches. So I will step in. That's why we are a team. So I would quickly just give us a bit of overview about the My SDGs program and why it is a very important necessity for all of us as whether core members, whether community managers, whether employers, employees, regardless of whichever box you fit into. I want to quickly tell us why this is an important program for all of us to be a part of. The My SDGs program, which is a brainchild and a wonderful initiative by Mind the Gap, is put together to be able to provide structured support for young people who are looking to find their feet around building sustainable enterprises, or what we call social enterprises. So what that simply means is that if you are that young person who wants to be able to build a business, that your interest alone is not just about making profit, then you are in the right room. A social enterprise is that enterprise that is looking to solve a societal or existential problem while also getting a transactional reward for it. That's simply what an enterprise is. So what that means is that for a social enterprise, it does not start and stop with getting a profit. It's about the impact you're making in your society. Let's get an example. Let's say you go to a community where there's a lot of plastic waste that is generated on a daily basis. If you now decide to solve the problem of that plastic waste by removing it from the environment and then maybe turning it into something exciting or more sustainable, like maybe briquettes or in grease or whatever it is that you can turn that plastic waste into, you now become a social enterprise because you will sell that outcome and get a profit, but you're solving the problem of environmental pollution. It could be the challenge around poor hygiene or lack of access to clean water, or increasing level of deforestation. Whatever the challenge is, as long as you're solving a problem before getting a profit out of it, that is what a social entrepreneur is. So I will quickly, going through the flow of the program, we're supposed to have some persons who will share a couple of success stories. But since I don't have anyone who will be joining us to do that now, I will quickly go ahead and share my story. So first, let's have a background of the Sustainable Development Goals. So let me see in the chat section, and let me see those of us who have joined quickly before I come back and continue. Right, so I have Otenwojo Abraham. Thank you so much for joining. I have Moyi Olua from joining from Kwara. Good to have you. I have Comrade Ochigo Sunday. Thank you so much for joining us from Nasarawa State. I have Helen Ene Oche. Thank you for joining from Kano. Olana De Julius. Thank you for joining from Oyo State. Mr. Chuduban, thank you for joining from Anambra. God's Favor is joining from Oyo State. Thank you so much. Akiemi is joining us from, can you let us know where you're joining from? Thank you so much. So I have a question before I start. If you have heard about the SDGs, comment yes or no. Yes to mean, yes, I've heard about the Sustainable Development Goals. No to me, I have not heard about it before. So very quickly, let me gauge a bit of awareness levels before I continue. Because you cannot understand the subject of social entrepreneurship if you do not understand what the Sustainable Development Goals are. All right, let me see. Blessing Ijoma said yes. Thank you so much, Blessing, for confirming. Yes, Julius says yes. Thank you. All right. Sunday says yes. I heard about it. Thank you. So 3 yeses. I'm moving forward. I do not see any no, so I'll just move forward. So the SDGs are, Celestine says yes. Thank you. The SDGs are a set of 17 goals, 17 SDGs that are made up of 169 targets and are comprised of 243 or others will say 247 targets. I mean indicators. So the SDGs are broken into goals, they are broken into targets, they are broken into indicators. I will explain in simple terms what this means. The SDG goals are 17 in number, the targets are 169, and the indicators are 247. Others will say 335, others will take 235. Regardless, we have at least above 200 indicators. Now, what are these goals? These goals are simply a set of ambitious agenda put together by the United Nations member countries for the kind of world they want to achieve by 2030, right? And the SDGs didn't come in existence on their own. The SDGs were built off the foundation of the Millennium Development Goals, which started at the turn of the 21st century in 1999 into 2000, right? So at the start of the year 2000, the member nations agreed on a set of what we call 8 Millennium Development Goals, right? So it elapsed in 2015, and in 2015, the SDGs began at that point, right? So from then, these goals, like I said, are 17. From goal 1, which talks about no poverty, to goal 17, which talks about partnership for the goals, you will find over 169 targets and 247 indicators. Now, what is a goal? A goal is simply that actionable agenda that the world wants to achieve. So let's pick an example. SDG Goal 8. SDG Goal 8 has a goal of decent work and economic growth, right? It's just the summary of it. Now, if you look at SDG Goal 8, it has a couple of targets under it. I can't remember how many now, but one of the targets of SDG Goal 8 is target 6. Now, target 6 is talking about substantially reducing youth not in employment, education, or training. That's the target. If you look at the indicator, the indicators identifies young people are those who are between the ages of 14 to 24, or is it 15 to 24? So what that means is that if you're talking about achieving that goal and you are not working around that target, then for that goal, you cannot be able to measure it effectively. So in simple terms, the goal is the overall objective that wants to be achieved. The target is broken down into the different components on how you can be able to understand what it means to say that there's no poverty or zero hunger or good health and well-being or quality education or gender equality or clean water and sanitation, or sustainable energies or decent work and economic growth. It goes on and on and on and on and on. So when you now look at those targets, you now see the different components under each goal. That is where you can find an opportunity to solve a problem. So what I tell people is that if you want to achieve the SDGs, don't focus on the goals, focus on the targets. Because when you say no poverty, look at how broad the thing is. But if you go down to the targets, you will now see how clearly everything is broken down. And then you can decide that, well, for me, I think I want to be able to achieve SDG goal 1, maybe target 3. That is an easy way to be able to approach it. So now that we have a fair understanding of what it means to be able to understand the SDGs, let us quickly move on to understanding what it means to be a social entrepreneur. How do you even become a social entrepreneur? Social entrepreneurship, like I said, is about solving societal or existential problems and then also getting a transactional reward for it. What that means, like I gave some examples, is that you identify a problem that most likely is okay. So sorry I was interrupted very briefly, but I am back now. So when you look at I lost my train of thought, so let me try to gather my thoughts. I wasn't expecting that I'll be interrupted that way. So when you look at the SDGs, like I said, it is in the target that you're going to find the opportunity which you're going to use and build a solution around it. Okay. The backstage, can you confirm? Do you want me to stop speaking? Why am I being interrupted? Okay. All right. So I'll go on then. So when we now look at it that way, you find your bearing, you decide, okay, this is the one I want to be able to move on, and then you move. So in terms of building a social enterprise, like every business, there's a method to it. That's why there's a saying, even madness, they say there's a method to a madness. So the same thing applies even in business. There's a method to building a social enterprise. First, you need to find the problem you are looking to solve, right? And then validate the extent to which this problem is causing damage. So we can be able to say, okay, for a problem around poverty, this is how many poor people we have in Nigeria. For the problem around unemployment, this is how many poor people we have or unemployed people we have in Nigeria. You must be able to identify your problem and validate it. There's something in the social entrepreneurship space, or even in the entrepreneurship space, called human-centered design thinking. So it simply means that you are building a problem, you're solving a problem with the end user in mind. So what that means is, if you're solving a problem for a farmer, you must think like the farmer. So that's basically the same mindset. When you're able to identify what this problem is and you validate it, you now need to be able to identify a journey. Where do you start? Who is the target audience? What are the resources needed for you to be able to achieve this? It's very important for you to be able to highlight these processes all through before you begin the process, right? So from there, can you build support around it? Who is interested in this problem? Because if you're going to look for partners, you cannot go to somebody who is interested in, let's say, climate action, when you are talking about gender equality. So in terms of even reaching out to get support, it must be across board for those who are interested in the problem that you are looking to solve. Until then, you're wasting your time, right? So it's very important for you to be able to define that. And then there's also that component around validating what you're doing. The lean startup methodology talks about starting small so that you perfect the process before you scale it. It's the same logic even in social entrepreneurship. Even if you think you want to solve the problem of the whole world, maybe you can start in your community. So that is simply why the My SDGs program is put in place in the first place. To say that if you have an idea, you don't even know how to go about it, this program helps you begin that journey, provides you the methodology and the support system for you to be able to garner the kind of support you need. Thank you, Sunday, for giving me the nudge on where I got interrupted. So basically, that's it, right? So I want to use the next 10 minutes or so to just share my story around my journey as a social entrepreneur. And for me, it began more clearly when I also had a good understanding of the Sustainable Development Goals. In 2018, I served in Gombe State, and I served then as a Sustainable Development Goals volunteer, right? I went on to become the president of my CDS, and in that time, I was able to better understand what the SDGs were and how we can be able to use them as a tool for social change. In my time as president, we were able to conduct the first survey to ascertain the level of awareness of the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, from that survey, we're able to understand that for everybody we surveyed, out of every one person or out of every 10 persons, only 5 knew about the SDGs. Through that, we were able to move on to better understanding how we will proceed and what we'll do differently. From that research, we were able to use that opportunity to set up SDG clubs across, I think, if I remember correctly, 5 or 7 schools, in Gombe, right? So for us to have been able to even achieve these results, we leveraged data. So we didn't just randomly go and just do something because we felt it was exciting, but it was backed by data. There was logic behind it. So from there, I'll move on to now tell you how I began my own business, which I'm currently running. Of course, I do several other things. I have worked severally and still a part of the Nigeria Youth SDGs Network. Is one of the leading voices around sustainable development goals, right? And so if you're interested around the SDGs, that's definitely one place you want to be able to go through. They have so many resources. Like one way you can also know how you can also contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals is you can go on Google and search the SDGs Playbook. It's a wonderful resource. It's available for you to download. You can download it on their website or on the UN website. So these are resources you can use. Now, from there, I wanted to solve the problem of animal care, right, using technology. And this is also rooted in several SDGs from SDG 1 to SDG 2, SDG 3, SDG 8, and it goes on and on. Now, what I have learned is that in solving this problem at the scale that it demanded solving, I also have been able to have a basis to be able to give back. And remember, like I said, a social entrepreneur doesn't think about profit first. You think about the impact you're making and the profit that will come with it eventually. If you look at what Tunde Onakoyo is doing with, chess from slums, where he is using, was it chess? Who can help me with that now? Chess to slums or slums to chess now. I'm trying to remember the correct one. But basically what he does is that he is leveraging chess as a tool to reduce young people from the streets, where he's bringing them into very structured environments, providing scholarships for them, training them, building their capacity, and a lot of young people have benefited from this, right? So that is a solution in itself, which he's now using as a tool for social change. It depends on whatever it is that you're thinking about, but there must, like I said, be a structure around it for you to be able to achieve results. In my case, I keep doing this, like I said, across different areas, but it all boils down to the value that I'm able to bring across board at the end of the day. So if you're here on this call and you're struggling with finding your footing around the concept of social entrepreneurship, know that you must first and foremost identify an area of interest, identify which SDG goal that connects to, validate the level of damage. If you're talking about gender inequality or gender equality, to what extent? How bad is it? If you're talking about poverty, how bad is it? If you're talking about hunger, how bad is it? If you're talking about climate change, how bad is the situation? If you cannot validate it at that level, we are not going to get the kind of result that we're looking for, right? So think about these angles from there, and then you take the journey. But remember, it's not a process where you resolve all under one moment. No, there are several other things that go through before you get to that final destination, and it's usually work in progress. That's why we say that in the business of design thinking, we keep iterating. You don't say that, well, because I've passed this stage, I'm not going to come back to it. So that is one way to be able to keep what I said. Yes, chess in Slum Africa. Thank you so much, Sunday, for sharing. So basically, that's what I want to share. So my story simply, it's about someone who is saying, I find the SDGs as a very potent tool to solving our problems, both at the level of the society and at even a bigger scale. And if you're going to be a social entrepreneur, you must find the SDG that resonates with the work you're doing. Every single problem on earth today has a connection to the sustainable development goals. If you find that, that is where your journey is going to begin. So I don't know if there are any questions. Let me look through the chat section. If there are any questions, please engage the chat. If you have gotten value, please also let me know, so that I'll be happy to take your questions before I yield back to the moderator. Are there any questions? If there are, please go ahead and ask. But if there are no questions, I would now yield back to the moderator. But I'm still looking at the chat section. If any. So,
thank you so much, Dr. Shadrach. Yeah. This was really a value packed. I've gotten so much insight. Sincerely, I don't know if I'm the only one that is taking home with so many knowledge today. Please, if you have a question, do well to drop it on the comment section. Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for this, for sharing with us your journey. Thank you so much. Okay, so today I would love to introduce the team member of the My SDG team. We have 10 people that are joining me to move the community forward. And I'm sincerely grateful for this person. So I would love to introduce these people today. And the first on my list is Chudubem Wachinemerem. Chudubem is a graduate of Nigerian University and a co-founder of Future Hold, True Value Impact Foundation, the community manager of Mind the Gap, and regional project manager of High Tech Center. He's a passionate advocate for human development in empowering individuals to drive transformative change. Through his skill and expertise, he has successfully empowered youth and women in rural community in Anambra and beyond. So please, let's give him an emoji. Let's celebrate Chidubem Wachinemere. Please, let's celebrate him. I want to see it in the comment section. And the second person on my list is Enitan O Adeyemi. She is a certified public speaker, force of nature award-winning model, mediapreneur, catwalk instructor, event/red carpet host, pageant and model coach. She wears many hats and wears them all with spanning, currently serving in Ibadan, Oyo State, Vice President of Projects Mind the Gap Ibadan. More than just the accolade and title, Anytime possesses deep passion for humanity heart goes out to the less privileged, uneducated children and those with disability. Come on, let's give her that emoji. Let's give her that emoji. I can't see you celebrating them. I can't see you celebrating them. Okay, the next person on my list is Barakat Olalade Jimo. She's a dedicated educator, podcaster, and advocate for community development, a graduate of plant physiology and crop production from the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. She brings years of experience as a teacher and private tutor and passionately shaping young minds. Barakat is the voice behind the Anything and Everything podcast on Spotify, where she explores a wide range of topics with curiosity and insight. Beyond her profession pursuit, she is deeply passionate about empowering children and making a difference in their lives. Come on, let's celebrate Barakat. Let's celebrate her. Thank you, guys. So, and the next person is Udekwe Uchenna Emmanuel. Uchenna is a graduate of mechanical engineering and a vocational maintenance staff at Cutis PLC, an event photographer and a graphic designer, an advocate of renewable and sustainable energy and clean environment, an anticipator of sustainable agriculture. He has helped many secondary school students in different areas, especially in the classroom teaching and monitoring. Come on, celebrate him. Let's celebrate him. I can't see your emoji. Let's celebrate him. Let's celebrate him. And the next person on my list here, sorry. The next person on my list here is Utenwojo Abraham. She's a passionate product designer, community manager, and program coordinator, deeply committed to driving social impact through innovative projects and meaningful community engagement. She is particularly focused on the intersection of technology and social change. Her experience spans working with diverse groups across sectors such as tech, education, civic leadership, sustainable development, and digital activism. She has also played significant role in various organizations like Ingressive for Good, Leap Africa, and Lagos Model United Nations, leading social impact. Utewe holds a degree in agriculture from the University of Nori. She is also a 22 Bridge Program Fellow under the Afara Initiative. Come on, let's celebrate her. Let's celebrate this beauty. And we also have Moyin Oluwa in New Berlin. He is a certified digital marketer, a facilitator, and a trained political scientist and graduate of adult education from the prestigious University of Ibadan, currently serving as the National Vice President of Mind the Gap CDS and President of Digital Literacy. He is strongly committed to youth advocacy and digital literacy and have volunteered for many leadership and humanitarian roles to further his goals. Let's celebrate him. Let's celebrate Moyin Oluwa. And we have Abba Goni, a motivated and passionate individual dedicated to positive impact, a content creator and a social entrepreneur. He has volunteered with several organizations that like Save the Children, NRC, and many other organizations. He's possessed a deep passion for humanity and believe in volunteering many times, skills and experience to support initiatives that can bring positive change, and is currently serving in Maiduguri, Borno State. Come on, celebrate him. Celebrate Abba. And we also have Abubakar Rukaya Garba. She's a microbiology graduate from Kaduna State University and also a digital literacy instructor in empowering individuals, community and organization on how to effectively use digital technologies, and also as an agro facilitator in helping farmers on how to manage risks and protect their livelihood. Let's celebrate Rukaya. And we also have Latifa Yusuf, a graduate of Gombe State University with a degree in biological science. She has volunteered in humanitarian works, State Emergency Management Agency. She is also a caterer. She is also into digital literacy, where she empowers youth on the importance of networking. Let's celebrate Latifa. Let's celebrate Latifa. Let's celebrate Latifa. And we also have Blessing Ijoma. She's a graduate of Nnamdi Azikiwe University with a degree in applied biochemistry. She has taken up roles as a global youth ambassador with the award. She has volunteered for several causes and organizations, such as Reform Summit 2024 Ewade, Coronada and Foundation, and Street Aid Africa. She is also the founder of the Smile Hands Foundation, a nonprofit deeply committed to improving the lives of vulnerable women and children. She is currently the Assistant Education Head with Do Deal FCT branch. Come on, celebrate Blessing. Let's celebrate her. And the last on my list is Favor Orimoleye. She's a motivated economist and chartered accountant with expertise in financial analysis, data management, and academic research, currently serving as a business analyst intern at Otiveli Development Company. She aims to specialize in investment research, economic forecasting, and strategic financial planning. Beyond her financial career, Favor is skilled in digital marketing and SEO strategy. As a proactive thinker and problem solver, Favor is passionate about promoting sustainable wealth among youth through the advocacy of strategic investment in financial assets, and would be conducting section that achieves it. Come on, let's celebrate these 10 personalities. Let's celebrate them. Let's celebrate them. Before we have our next speaker, let's celebrate them. Let's celebrate them. They have dedicated their time to support you in growing in the My SDG team. And they will be here to share their experiences, their journey, and help you succeed in developing your products. So before we have the next speaker, I want to introduce what My SDG is. In case you are new here, you have not joined our group. So I will introduce My SDG team for you. So My SDG is a community that helps you become a social entrepreneur. So we help you identify a pressing need in your community. We help you identify a pressing need in your community, help you in the development processes, and also help you to launch profitable social enterprise. So that is what the community is all about. And you can network with like-minded. We have arranged the program in such a way that it takes you from the position you are currently to the position where you can become an owner of a social enterprise. We help you identify a particular problem that will be easy to bring the community along to fund it. So if you are not in the My SDG community, we are going to be sharing a link after the program. So you are going to join in and register your name, the state you are serving, and the idea you already have. But if you don't have a problem, if you don't have an idea yet, it's not a problem. While you are in the community, you'll be able to identify an idea that is related to your community, and then we'll help you how to flesh it out and then bring it to life. So thank you as you follow through this program. So I'll be calling on the next speaker. So guys, let's welcome our next speaker, Mr. Tayo. He is the CEO of Mind the Gap. So let's give him the emoji. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We are
Awesome.
glad to have you
Awesome.
here. Thank you so much, sir.
Chisholm, you are brilliant. This is beautiful. And a big shout out to all your 10, team members. I mean, just listening through their profile, I am almost very sure that you are taking this assignment to the next level. And it's a clear indication that with this team that you have put together, we will be able to provide a very technical resource because I hear their profile and I'm so excited because these are guys from what I listen to who are not just core members just as core members. They are not ordinary core members. These are guys who from what you're saying, they truly understand the concept of community engagement and how to really help to transition problems into project and to transition project to passion and passion to profit. So I'm super excited about it. So I'm happy to be here, everyone. My name is Tara Loshide, like she said. I'm the executive director of Mind the Gap. Sorry, I'm sweating. We started Mind the Gap some 15 years ago as a social enterprise. Just a little backstory. Previous to that, I worked for about 8 years in management consulting. I work in the bank. I work in software development, and combining all those three throughout the thread of my career for the first 8 years, I kept hearing one thing that was consistent is about Nigeria youth are not employable. I have had that severally because I was in HR, and one of my mandate was to spend a minute on the CV of an average Nigerian graduate. And in the process of that, I found myself having to want to be a part of this solution. And when I realized that it wasn't just only me that was interested in solving this problem of Nigeria youth not being employable, I realized that a couple of other guys who are in the HR space were equally interested in this solution. I realized that it was not just a nice idea in my mind, it was a solution that fit into the economically viable market need. But I couldn't do anything about it. From like 2001 that I recognized this problem, starting my career, up to when I went to the bank, until when I went into the consulting, into when I went to software development, I just knew someone there to do something about this. It's a community problem, just like any other community problem that you might be interfacing with as a core member. Now, all throughout the time I was working, at the point I started something about it, called Executive Roundtable Network in my church. And my responsibility then was to help every single person who was looking for a job. I bring all my HR friends and we're helping people to get jobs. We're placing them in local because it was a major problem that even majority of my HR friends were having. So one of the things that used to happen in those days is anytime any one of us are in need of manpower, entry level, mid-level, top level, we just call her and say, hey guy, I urgently need like 3 highly recommended entry level accountant. We just drop it. I mean, it wasn't there of social media or so much of things like WhatsApp, but we have our own way of communicating. Oh, guys, I need like an entry level, highly recommended, and those are the word highly recommended entry level guys in like marketing. I mean, we just always share this among ourselves, and we realized that we were able to solve the problem of us as HR people within our community. And we're also able to like kind of transition that into solving the problem of our employer, whom we are serving as head of HR, or we're the one responsible for getting quality manpower into the organization. But it got to a time when we realized that the more we were trying to do this, the more we were seeing gaps in really transitioning an average Nigerian graduate into becoming the human capital, human resource that the employer is looking for. And we realized that beyond just even at selecting those who are qualified for this role, there is a need for us to go back as HR people to go back and begin to like kind of help, majority of the guys who are almost there to cross their T's and dot their I's. And gradually we brought ourselves together. We started organizing ourselves and we started working with young people. We started placing them on job just by helping them to cross their T's in their CV, just by giving them pep talks about how to, go for an interview, just by helping them to identify opportunities where it is. We were bringing everybody together. Fast forward to about 2008, it was obvious when we were doing this thing, I was doing it privately, that it was necessary for me to do this thing full time. But I didn't have the courage because I have a good paying job. I have a wife, I have a husband, I have children to train. I couldn't figure out how I was going to solve this problem. So I had a chairman, even though it wasn't a registered company then, but I had somebody who I call a chairman in terms of structure for a social enterprise. I didn't even know what the name was. And that time I really don't want to be an NGO. I've heard so much about the word NGO, non-profit, non-governmental organization. I'm like, come on, I'm too young not to make profit, right? So I was like, okay, how can I solve this problem of Nigerian youth not being employable very, sustainably? Though I didn't have a clear understanding of the word sustainability then, it wasn't a buzzword then, but in solving the problem, I want to solve it in large scale. Because we started in my church, it has grown to become something we were solving for the whole city, and everybody was already getting involved. I couldn't figure out how I was going to be able to do this large scale, because one thing you need to know about social entrepreneurship is that we love to solve problem large scale. We don't love solving small problems. And that is why you need to be able to develop a model that can scale, that can move from just solving the problem in one community to solving in a state to solving in whatever. But like we said, you have to start somewhere, right? Fast forward, on Friday, I got a call from my chairman, who is the MD of a company. He said, Tayo, where are you? Come over now. I'm like, any problems? I was a Friday. I mean, of course, where I was working, I have the liberty of moving. I have a brand new official car. I just drove to his office from Obalende to Ikeja. And he said, Tayo, I'm going for a meeting right now. There is a newspaper on my table. Just go ahead and go through it. And that was when I first caught a hold of the concept of social business, social entrepreneurship, doing good and doing great. And I read the story of the likes of Mohammed Yunus, who built the Grameen Bank, and I was fascinated. And I sat down, I was reading. I mean, I was reading newspaper, I was reading over and over. Immediately I saw that, I flipped into the internet. I began to watch videos right there and there for almost 3 hours. And that was what broke my commitment to being a solution in the human capital development, skills and talent gap space. And that was the motivation and the courage to know that we can solve this problem sustainably. We can solve it in a way by bringing together, understanding the problem, bringing together a solution, bringing together key stakeholders, and developing a business skill that is needed to solve this problem at scale. So, I mean, fast forward, we started Mind the Gap, of course, in Lagos. Today, we are nationwide, and I'm super excited about what we have been able to do, with the NYC, which provided a very strategic platform for us to really accelerate that which we were doing initially. So, what was the idea? So in 2008, we started Mind the Gap. All we were doing was bringing, mentors to come and sit down with core members every month. And we have mentors from everywhere, right? Every corporation, because it was a social problem. It was a community problem, right? So we have, mentors from everywhere coming around. And before you know what's happening, it became bigger than what we can handle by just about 50 to 100 of us, mentors from different organizations, name it, from LNG in those days to Shell to Chevron. Everybody just wanted to do something. Everybody wanted to solve this problem. Everybody wanted to be a part of the solution. Nobody wants to be left behind. There is no very sound organization that we didn't have a mentor. So fast forward to about 2010, we got a full support from an organization called Access Bank. In fact, that was when I had to resign my job to start this full. So that is a quick, backstory of mine. So in 2008 to 2010, we were just helping to cross the T's and dot the I's of many core members, and we have amazing success story. In fact, the story was that when I was going to start this project in 2008, I didn't have the money. In fact, the first venue we were going to use for Mind the Gap was going to cost us $350K as of 2008. I don't have 350K, right? So I just called one of my guys who had passed through our program, and I said, hey guy, I think I want to do this thing large scale. I need to run this program, and I have X amount of money. And he was like, you know what are you talking about? You don't ask us for money when you help us. I'm working in a bank. I know close about 50 of the guys that passed through the program and who are doing very well. You never ask us for money. I think it's the time for us to give me 50 names of guys who have passed through this program. And of course, it was easy. I went through my phone. I gave him all the list of names. I said, you know what? I don't want to be asking anybody, for anything. And he went on and reached out to many of these guys. It wasn't the day of transfer. So people gave us checks. Long story short, we were able to kind of execute that program. It's a different story, which I will have the opportunity of telling you in my social entrepreneurship journey another time. But going straight into the topic of today, how to become, what's the word right now? How to become a change maker, by solving community problem through social entrepreneurship. How to become a change maker, solving community problem through social entrepreneurship. That is a very apt topic, because let me tell you guys, there is no better thinking now that every Nigerian youth needs to have other than be a problem solver. I'd share that one today with a couple of core members who are passing out, and I engage them in the program we call Good to Go. If I have my way, there's only one software I want to insert in the brain of every Nigerian graduate: be a problem solver. Anytime you see a problem, just know the problem are designed to be solved. And the reason for that is because God created us human to really work on our community. We are not supposed to be consumers. We're supposed to be the people that we take a hold of our community and optimize our community for our own good. So every problem we see in the community is a signal to the fact that, do I have competent, smart, complete human being in this community? In fact, we had a statement we started Mind the Gap with that says that every community, country, or continent is nothing. Every community or continent is nothing but the collective capacity of its people to create value. Every community is nothing. Communities are nothing but the collective capacity of its people to create value. What does that mean? It means that the ability to create value, identifying a community problem and being able to create a solution into it is what really makes us through humans in our community. So if you're a core member, you are posted to a particular community and you kept seeing a problem that is attracting you, and you feel like, no, somebody needs to solve this problem. Government needs to solve this problem. Hey, the question I want to say to you, for you to be the one seeing that problem, maybe you are the one to solve it. And I know many of you want to solve community problem, because the reason why the NYSC was designed with the community development service at the core of it is because that is the only way to really empower Nigerian youth. Anyone that is trying to do, whether it's a Said or you are doing your PPA, but you don't have a problem-solving mentality inside as a software, right? You cannot do very well in the PPA. You cannot do very well inside. But when you have a problem-solving mentality, even when you want to develop your side program, you develop it with a community approach. Just like what Dr. Shadrach said, you realize that every single problem, every single business, the example I normally give is the likes of company like Google, right? And I'm going to go into detail. Google today is giving all of us a search engine where we all make reference to, and it's completely free, right? But Google have a business model underneath it where you support the creation of that platform, so helping the whole world to have access to content while creating a business model that kept to sustain that business. So social entrepreneurs goes all the way to companies like Google. All right. So please let me know how many minutes I have, because I see you flashing me. If once just let me know how many minutes I have. Okay. Just drop it for me on the WhatsApp so that I will know when to stop and how to stop. Okay. So what am I trying to say? So in 2012, after we have helped many people to connect with job, because what we're doing is we just take 5 core members, we assign them to a mentor, and who work with them to ensure after NYC they get a job or they were able to start a business and all those things. We now realize that it wasn't enough to just continue to create people that are looking for job. We wanted to create people that can solve real community problems. So the idea of really what we call NYC Social Enterprise Incubation Program got started. And we started with a simple, principle to say how to jumpstart your career through what, personal community development program. And we had simple methodology, which I'll quickly go through to help you to really be able to kind of solve this problem in your community and translate it into a social enterprise, or that's going to help you to actually get a better job after NYC. Now, so how do you, whatever, just like what Dr. Shedrack said, first and problem is problem identification. You cannot build a very solid social community. You can't solve a community problem without properly defining and understanding the problem. And that is why you can't just say, oh, yeah, I know the problem of this community, they need water. No, before you conclude that they need water, you need to engage with people in your community and find out, okay, hey, I noticed I've been here for about 3 months, and I noticed that you guys don't have water, and I'm thinking of what can we do together. And by the time you talk to young people in the community, you talk to community elders, it calls stakeholder engagement. You ask questions, you do your research, you do your findings. And when everybody comes to a conclusion that, oh, yes, it's true, but water is a problem, this, you don't just see a community problem and begin to solve it. Because we have something we normally say, that any problem you want to solve must have, must meet what's called economically viable market need. For it to be a social enterprise, it must be something that is needed by a sizable number of people who might not be able to pay you, but somebody is willing on their behalf to see that problem solved. So the first thing is problem identification. And the way to identify the problem is by doing some level of stakeholder engagement to validate the authenticity of the problem in your community. Don't just jump into there's a problem here, I want to solve it. The second thing we always say to you when you come to core member is don't just do a problem because you want to solve a problem. Solve a community problem that in a way is connected to your own personal career aspiration. Whether you want to go into social entrepreneurship after NYC, or you want to actually, get a job after NYC, why doing a personal CDS project is so important for you is that NYC provide for you a platform to really develop content to build your CV. Organizations are not more looking for information-oriented CV. Organizations are now looking for what is called achievement-oriented CV. So your CDS and your community development program, whether as a core member, provide for you an opportunity to validate some of the critical things employers are looking for. Number one is that you are a leader, you are a problem solver. Number two is that you can work, with minimal supervision. All those things people write in their CV. Your personal CDS or group CDS is one of the ways where you can validate that so that you can be able to put it in your CV. Let me go back to the point that I was making. Number one is problem identification. Number two is stakeholder engagement. Number three is for you to understand that whatever problem you want to solve must be a sustainable problem-solving mechanism. What does that mean? The fact that you see a problem does not mean you must solve every problem. But when you engage the community and you realize that this is a problem that they want to solve, the next thing you start thinking before you embark on the project are how will I do this project and it will be sustainable after I have done it? How long will this problem require? If it's required for 5 years, 10 years, 100 years, how far can I take this problem in terms of solving it? It doesn't mean you can't do problems that is a quick win. I go, yeah, and that's why I'm not comfortable when core member says, I want to build classroom. Those are not the only, physical projects are not the only problem we have in the community. Let me quickly run through you some of the immediate problems that are in the community that you can begin to apply yourself. Number one is orientation. Orientation, national orientation. That's why you are in NYC. Your number one job as a core member is to improve the national orientation of the people in the community you are posted to. An average person must see the possibility in Nigeria. Even if you don't have any problem, just find 10 or 15 people, young people that you can put together, old people, to begin to share with them your understanding of the Nigeria that has possibilities and potential. That is a project. They said this in the other way also is maybe it's health, maybe it's education. Advocacy is the number one problem every core member can actually solve. The number one solution. You might choose to do advocacy in education, in health, in job creation, in any problem you see in your community. Advocacy. And what's advocacy? Aggregating solution and aggregating information that can take people in your community from where they are to where they need to be. Nigeria massively need like about 1 million Nigerian youth doing, advocacy and sensitization of the rest of Nigerians about the possibility of being a problem solver. We need to move our country and communities from people who look up to government and depend on government. Let me quickly jump because of time. I asked them to let me know how many minutes I have so that I'm working within that context. This is my thing. I love social entrepreneurship. I love community problems. Sebastian, please let me know how many minutes I have, please. Maybe 5 more minutes so that I can quickly wrap up. The number one, the next thing you need to do in terms of sustainability is to now ensure you can build a team. A team. No man, that's what Sebastian has done. Look, an organization or community is nothing but the collective capacity of its people to create value. Before you jump out to start doing anything, build a team. It might be one friend of yours in the NYC. It might be another young person in the community. They might be you share it with your LGI. Build a team of 1, 2, 3. And these are the people you share your thoughts with. And I've seen many of our most successful guys who, the first thing is identify the problem, engage with stakeholders in the community, build a team. And when you are building that team, make sure you build the team around the key element that you are going to require in solving that problem in large scale, depending on how big the problem you have identified and the solution you have articulated. So, okay, yeah, forgive me. Problem identification, stakeholder engagement, solution articulation. That's the third thing. Problem identification, stakeholder engagement, solution articulation. That's the fourth thing. Team building. Build a team. 2, 3, 4. Every single team. Look at all the key elements. Oh, I need to raise fund. Who among my friends do I know who knows how to raise fund? Oh, I need to mobilize community. Who amongst my friends knows how to? I need to use technology. Who amongst my friends? Bring them. Say, guys, I have this thing I'm doing, and let's do it together. When your time comes, I can help you to do your own too. Once you're able to build a team like that, then you and your team, you are working together to now look at all the various elements of problem solving, solution articulation, and deployment of the solution that you have created. Number 5 thing you need to do is come up with a plan. A plan now is not just a list of activity, a strategic plan. Which means it's a plan that has what to do, who is doing it, what's required to do it, what time do we need to do it, what are the likely problems we are likely to face in doing this problem, what is going to be our likely mitigation against this risk and challenge that we are facing. Was I able to do that like a log frame for your problem for the implementation? Then get started. People used to say, oh, money, we need money. Money is the problem. Money is not the problem. The right human capital is the problem. Once you can find the right persons, if you are not the one that needs to know how to mobilize money, find somebody around you that knows how to mobilize money, right? And once you're able to do that, and you don't even need money, you need resources. Because when you begin to ask people to give you money, that's when you begin to suspect. You say, hey, we want to do XYZ project. We need XYZ number of things. Don't give us money. Please buy it and give it to us. It disarms people to know that you're not just doing this thing because of whatever. You're doing it because you want to solve the problem, right? And the money to solve every problem is in the community. I can say that one to you without fear of equivocation. We've done this for 15 years. The money is in the community. And I'm going to wrap up with this. The moment you do all those 5 things, the next thing is lights and action. Get busy. Of course, you will have gone through the process of going to your NYC schedule officer, you discuss with your LGI, you get approval, you look for sponsors. We at Mind the Gap are the first to give you a sponsorship letter that we're going to provide technical skills for you. And we're also going to provide fundraising strategy for you, because that's our job, right? We might not give you money, but we're going to give you strategy. We're going to connect you with people. We're going to help you to identify how to connect with solution in your community. And of course, we're also working very closely now with an online fundraising platform where you can just post your project and raise fund both locally and internationally. I don't know if I've made any point, but I know I have made some point. But what I want to say finally is to you, let me tell you guys, social entrepreneurship is the biggest opportunity that every smart, intelligent core member needs to understand. Problem solving is the most important skill of an average Nigerian youth. Whether you want to work for somebody or you want to run your own business, even if you want to run a business, use the social enterprise model. It's going to help you. I have reports from British Council to everybody that's done reports on social entrepreneurship. Mind the Gap also profiled in one of the reports that British Council did in 2001. And we find out in that research, I'm going to share the content with Sebastian so I can share it with you guys. Social entrepreneurship reportedly created more jobs than an average, business of their size. Social entrepreneurs were able to even get marginalized people into employment more than businesses of their size. Social entrepreneurs grew faster, more than businesses of their type. So I want to say to you guys, this is the time for you to stay with Sebastian and trust that we want to raise a minimum of 300 social entrepreneurs amongst you guys, that in the next 1 year, you are going to change the face of Nigeria. We cannot wait for government. We can do it. You can do it. All those 10 guys that Sebastian has identified, has put together, those are amazing people. And I look forward to the project they want to do. We'll back you. We'll bring all our previous social entrepreneurs to come and support. We bring influencers to come and amplify what you are doing. And we also connect you with global platform in the UN to help you to connect the problem you are trying to solve to global reality. So on this note, I want to say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I look forward to continue to engage with you and for us to actually solve the problem the problem of Nigeria belongs to the young people, and you can do it. Thank you very much. So I'm open to questions. Sebastian, I yield to you. Hello, Sebastian.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Tayo.
Yeah.
Sebastian is having a little network glitch and she'll be on shortly.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for dishing out that value this evening. Please, can I see your clapping emoji in the chat box if you got value from tonight's session? Thank you so much, Lucas. Ruth, we'll be taking questions now, and I'd like everybody to fill in the form that has been sent into the chat box. It's for everybody's attendance, that everyone that's here today, you're meant to fill in that form link that has been sent. Once again, thank you so very much, Mr. Tayo. Once we get questions, we need questions at this moment, even as we wrap up. We want people about the my SDGs, the social. All right. Thank you so much, Elias. He's stating what he has learned from problem identification to stakeholder engagement, solutions, team formation, very important, and strategic planning. That is very amazing. I do hope that we'll be taking this point home tonight and we'll be applying it in our various sectors that we find ourselves. Most especially information. Have a team, have a set of people who can do much more than you can do. Have a set of people that can fill in strength for your weakness. Thank you very much for highlighting that point. And in the next few minutes, we'll be out of here. I would like to receive questions in the chat box. If you have questions, you have contributions that you'd like to give us this evening, we'd like to hear from you. And we're most grateful to our speakers, Mr. Tayo. And so on this note, if we have questions, I'll bring them up once more. Thank you so much, Mr. Tayo. Thank you for that insightful session. And Dr. Shadrach, at this point, do you have anything to tell us, even as a wrap up?
Okay.
Dr. Shadrach, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Thank you so much, Mr. Tayo, for sharing the entire journey, and for everyone who has been listening in. You have to believe me, as Mr. Tayo has said, that
All right. While Dr. Shadrach
the
is coming up,
present.
we're still waiting for your
Can you hear me?
questions.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Questions. Ensure to fill in the form that has
Mercy, can
been
you
sent
hear me?
to you.
Mercy, can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can
Okay,
hear you,
good.
Dr. Shadrach.
Thank you so much, sir. So what I was saying is that the present, and more importantly, the future, is tied very strongly to social entrepreneurship. The problems we face today, you cannot just be a conventional entrepreneur and want to be able to solve them, because your mind would be just about revenue and profit. The minute you attach yourself, or you begin to think more about social entrepreneurship, you think more about impact, and that impact will translate to so many things. So take home all of the lessons. Mind the Gap is a solid model for what a social entrepreneurship entity should be. Every single project that is running is deeply rooted on the foundation of the Sustainable Development Goals, and you can draw lessons from here. And like I said, no matter how ambitious, try to find the most smallest unit to validate what you're doing, and do not validate as if you're doing it for yourself. Social entrepreneurship, entrepreneurs always use the human design, the center design thinking model, where they think like the person they are solving a problem for. When you do it that way, you can be sure that you will make a success out of it. And remember, the process must be iterative. Don't face your front and say you cannot turn back. If the process is not working, keep turning the engine till you get it right. But more importantly, the My SDGs project program is put together to support like-minded people who are looking to solve problems or challenges in their communities. So come through the system, and we are available to help you make the most of your service here, especially for core members. Thank you again, Mary, for the opportunity to share. Thank you again, my boss, Mr. Tayo, for the opportunity to grace the stage with you. It's always a pleasure, as always. Thank you so much, and happy new month to all of us.
Excellent. 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 Okay, just to mind the gap, my own final word while the moderator is getting in, my own final word for you guys is this. Let me tell you that you are here is an indication of the fact that you are a complete human being. Human beings are designed to solve problems in their community, but people don't know how. And social entrepreneurship is the how. Resources and strategies being put together is how individuals are going to be able to solve problems in their community. Look at it from pure water business to education to health. Everybody, instead of complaining, they articulated a solution, and people are responding to solving every problem of human being in your community can respond to the social entrepreneurship model by following all those models. And when you do that, you can be rest assured money is never a reason why anything important should not be done. That is our cliche in mind. Money cannot stop you from solving the problem. Once you follow these processes, the resources will come, you will solve it from one level to the other, and you will solve it so big that you don't have a choice. I see many of our guys resigning from well-paying job, cutting out, to go and pursue what they believe in. Nigeria needs thousands of social entrepreneurs, and we are committed to be the one that will reactivate that social entrepreneurship revolution. All right, so I yield back to you also, moderator, so that we can wrap up within your time.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. At this point, Mary cannot come up because of our network, but we are so glad that the session was still able to hold. Thank you so very much once again. And from this point, it's going to be a goodbye. Everyone on this webinar, please do well to fill the link that has been sent in the chat box, even as we wrap up.